Hello everyone. Today in this episode I will be talking about history of films with special reference to Indian cinema. But before I begin, I would like you to see a screening of Lumiere brothers who made 6 short films in 1895. As you have seen, all these 6 short films had the camera in a very static position. The camera was just merely recording whatever was happening in front of it. For example, the train arriving at the station, the baby having a breakfast with her family, the workers returning back from the factory. There were several men who were trying to play tricks on the horses, and so on and so forth. All of this was beautifully shot and it looked like a magic as claimed by George Melly. Now what is interesting to know that this particular screening of 6 short films was shown on 7th of July 1896 at Watson Hotel in Bombay. What more, there was a person named Harishchandra Sakharam Batavdekar who ordered a camera all the way from England. His first film was known as The Wrestlers. It was shot at the Hanging Gardens. Like the Lumiere brothers, The Wrestlers also merely recorded a wrestling match. In 1912, Sri Pundalik was a 22 minutes long film which got screened on 18th of May 1912 at a Coronation Cinematograph, Girgaon. It was produced and directed by Dadasaheb Phalke, who was also called as Ramchandra Gopal. It was a recording of a Marathi play. Now let me explain. Basically, there was a Marathi play that was going on, and this entire film, Sri Pundalik, just merely recorded a Marathi play. It was just a recording of a theatrical performance. Then came the first full-length feature film, which was called as Raja Harishchandra. May 3rd, 1913 was the release of Raja Harishchandra. It was a silent film. Dadasaheb Phalke was the director, writer, cameraman, editor, makeup artist as well as the art director. It got screened in London in 1914. It is considered as the first full-length Indian feature film. By 1920, censor boards got established in Bombay, Chennai, Kolkata and Lahore. All of this was before India got its independence. After Raja Harishchandra, Dadasaheb Phalke went on to make several films including Mohini Bhasmasur in 1913, Satyavan Savitri in 1914, Lanka Dahan in 1917. Lanka Dahan was the one that went on to become India's first major box office hit. The movie was based on Sita's abduction by Ravan. Actually, dear friends, all the early forms of cinema was based on mythology. Do you all know why most of the films were based on mythology? Because religion as well as mythology was well integrated into our culture and tradition, and it was very easy to depict all the stories of mythology as feature films. That's the reason most of the early films were based on either mythology or religion. Dadasaheb went on to make 95 films, 26 short films in his lifetime. He is called as the father of Indian cinema because he laid the foundation for the future of Indian film industry, and he trained several young filmmakers in his studio in Nasik. He believed that Indians must see Indian movies on Indian silver screen. In 1969, Dadasaheb Phalke Award inaugurated, and in 1971, a postal stamp bearing his face was released by Indian Post in order to honor him. Then came silent era in Indian films. The films of silent era did not talk but they were never watched in silence. Dialogue was presented through intertitles. Often these intertitles were either in English or in 2 or 3 Indian languages. Almost every film had a background score, which ran through the length of the film. Most of the time, the background score was live. It helped to dramatize the narrative of the film. Sometimes there were also piano accompaniment. But most of the films had a violin, harmonium, tabla and other musical instruments. Then came the first talkie, I would say the first Indian talkie named Alam Ara. Alam Ara got released in 1931. It was directed by Ardeshir Irani. It was the first sound film in India. Firoz Shah was the first music director of Alam Ara. De De Khuda Ke Naam Par was the first song recorded for Alam Ara. In 1932 came Indur Sabha. It featured over 70 songs and it was around 211 minutes long. Can you believe it, guys? In 1932, before we got independence, we had an entire feature film that was 211 minutes long and had 70 songs. The movie was made by Jamshedji Fremji Madan's company, that is Madan Theatre. Indur Sabha holds the world record for most number of songs ever in a feature film. In 1932 came Sham Sundar. It became the first Silver Jubilee film. In 1935 came Hunter Wali. It featured Nadia. This movie became the first film with a female lead. Before Hunter Wali, most of the enactment of female leads were done by male leads. Hunter Wali broke the stereotype, and after Hunter Wali, many of the women started enacting in feature films. Between 1931 to 1947, 6,590 Hindi films were produced. From 1947 to 1987, 5,074 films got released. Now let's understand, was it only the Hindi cinema that was progressing? No, my friends. There was also growth of regional films. So let's understand, how did the growth of regional films take place? In 1917 came the first Bengali feature film, which was called as Nal Damayanti. It was produced by J.F. Madan with Italian actors. In 1919 was the first silent South Indian feature film, which was called as Kichak Kavadam. It was made by R. Nataraja Mudaliar of Madras. 1931, first talkie in Bengali was Jamai Shashti, which was produced again by Madan Theatres. In fact, Madan Theatres were very much helping in the growth of regional films. 3rd October 1931 came the first Tamil talkie, Kalidas, directed by H.M. Reddy. 1932, first Marathi film was directed by V. Shantaram. It was called as Ayodhyache Raja, produced by Prabhat Film Company. I will continue talking about the evolution of Indian cinema in my next episode. I would like to end the episode with Robert Louis Stevenson's quote: "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." Thank you so much. Have a good day. Let's meet in the next episode. If you like my video, like, share and subscribe to it.